Hey, it's Trevor Strnad from the Black Dahlia Murder, and you're watching Stormbringer, the Austrian heavy metal zine. Fuck.
Yeah, Nightbringers, the last album came out like a year, 2 years ago almost. I think 2017, right?
Yep.
It's, yeah, as the title says, it's all about the night themes, right? What was the idea lyrically behind it?
Typical BDM fodder for the night theme. We're always talking about living at night. I see death metal as being told from the villain's perspective, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of the attraction of it for people, and so yeah, always speaking from the point of view of the monsters, you know what I mean, and the evil, and so nighttime is definitely the right time for all that stuff. So it's been like a constant theme since really like the first record. So yeah, Nightbringers,
and it's a good thing to play too in night, right?
Yes,
not in the broad daylight.
Yep. Metal happens at night. You know, parties happen at night. All the cool stuff happens at night.
Only interviews don't, because it's not night yet. So.
Right.
Yeah, it has for me, compared to the older records, Nightbringers has some more black metalish touch to it. Maybe just I hear it, but do you think that's the case?
Yeah, dude, I think so. You know, it's more. It's less of the Swedish black metal than we normally do. You know, there's some really cool chords and stuff in there. Something like you'd hear from Decibel Omega. You know, so that's different for us. You know what I mean? But there's also a little bit more of a rock element to certain parts of the album. You know, and I think Brandon has been those touches. You know, being the new guy, bringing in some new sounds, some new ideas. And it's really, you know, we've always been pulling from black metal, death metal, thrash. It's kind of a melting pot of all different things that we like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I definitely do like the black metal flourishes that we've used with this record. And overall, man, you know, a year and a half and even more than that later, I'm still very, very proud of the album. Yeah. It's very cool.
But you mentioned the Swedish kind of style you like. Isn't there some kind of American metal style, death metal style? Does it have to be the Swedish all the time?
Oh no, I mean we have definitely an American edge too. I think that's where the more aggressive end of the stuff we do comes from. You know, when we were putting the band together, we were like looking at the Gates, obviously, and Carcass, you know, is another favorite. But a lot of the melodic bands of the time, you know, In Flames, Soilwork, they were all starting to go more commercial, you know, and we were like, no way, we got to do the same thing, but be more aggressive, you know what I mean? So we started putting in lots of blast beats, and, you know, the American stuff I think that we look to the most is Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Malevolent Creation, yeah, those in particular, I would say. Aside from
names,
the big four, you know,
the
too.
Big Four, yeah.
But yeah, man, it's always been a melting pot of things, and you know, usually it seems like bands get influenced by another local band, you know what I mean, that's older and wiser than them. But for us, we couldn't really find any kind of death metal scene to get plugged into, you know what I mean. We were just kind of taking influences from all over the place, and that's how we ended up with our sound. But definitely, you know, Sweden is at the heart of it, I would say.
The melodic kind of
melodic
stuff.
Yeah, the melodic stuff from Sweden. The good old, you know, At the Gates and Darkane and all that great stuff. Dark Tranquility and Flames. Yeah. But also the black metal end of the spectrum there, too. You know, Dissection and... yeah. You know, there's a lot of killer bands. Yeah. The frosty stuff.
Yeah, the frosty stuff for the night creatures.
Yes.
Yeah. You come from a very special region in America, Michigan, Detroit, right? And it came to the medias in Europe the last time when all the factories closed down and the economy declines and everything like that. Do you experience anything like that at home as well? now, when you live there, or just have to work there somewhere or something like that?
I moved to Brooklyn semi-recently, but I would say that it was kind of in our favor because everything was cheap. You know, the cost of living was cheap because of the economic collapse. And so, you know, we were able to maintain the band without having a job on the side. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we're lucky to
it's
be
full-time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gone so much. It's definitely... We've actually calmed down quite a bit. And the longest we were gone, I think, was 10 months in a year. That's a lot. It's a lot of tour.
You have any family back there you can't see?
No, I don't have kids, thankfully. None of us have kids, which I think is a good move if you're going to tour this much. Yeah. You know, but it's definitely strenuous on your relationships. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm gone so long that that this is my real life. You know what I mean? And that home is kind of just a weird placeholder, you know, until the next tour.
Yeah. Stop over.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's definitely weird, but it's nice to be out of Michigan. It's because I grew up there, you know what I mean? And coming back there after a tour, and just like my family's there, you know, like my mom and all that stuff, and just this was like a harsh reality from being a Mr. Cool rock star guy to going back to, you know, the same
staying at home guy.
The same neighborhood you grew up in. No one takes you seriously, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing.
They still don't.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I just had to leave, you know. But New York's cool. It's a lot more. There's a lot more going on in the death metal scene there. There's a lot more shows coming through. So it's been pretty exciting to be out there so far.
I read a quote of you. You said that when you started the band years ago, the first thing you wanted to do was to get out of Michigan, right?
Yeah, just to like play somewhere else, really. You know what I mean? Because I felt like, you know, we were a local band there for 3 years, and well, we weren't good yet either, but it didn't seem like anyone took us seriously, you know. So because they already knew us, you know, as a bunch of like little nerd kids. So we had to go somewhere else where people didn't know who we were yet and just measured us on our own, you know, music, hopefully. Yeah. So that was the idea, to get outside of Michigan and start fooling everybody.
Now you have a very strict work ethic, in my opinion. Every 2 years there's a new record, right?
Right.
Every odd year.
This one will be the same, but it won't be quite as, you know, usually it's like clockwork that the album comes out, you know, within a certain number of months, but this one will be a little bit later, but it will still be 2019 for sure.
That would be the next question, right?
Yeah, and you know, it's just been the best way for us, you know. I think that with a new album comes new excitement from everybody, from not only the band, but from the fans, you know. There comes cool new artwork, new songs, new merch, new tours, new everything. So it's like a renewal, you know what I mean? And I think that since really the internet's become so big, people's attention spans are just shorter and shorter and shorter, man. You know, you can stream 1 million bands in one day or download 1 million records in one day. So I think it's good to have new content coming, you know what I mean? And
don't wait too long to the next record.
Right. Yeah. And you know, we like creating, you know, especially now these guys are this is the best lineup we've been able to surround ourselves with, you know. So I love Nightbringers, and I'm really excited to see like where we can take it with the next one, you know. We're just now starting to talk about the next phase, you know, and thinking about moving towards that. So that's exciting for us.
You can write new lyrics to it, right?
Yeah,
because you like it more gory and gory all the time,
yeah,
right?
I like that, you know, and I'm always trying to... It's hard to shock people, especially that are into metal, you know what I mean? Because gore, guts, and demons and werewolves, it's all just all par for the course in death metal, you know what I mean? It's everywhere, so...
Everything is said already.
Yeah, so I try to like do the old classic style stuff, but with my kind of twist on it, I guess, you know. And it's fun. It's a challenge to try to...
Still the Butchered at Birth in your mind.
Yeah, Butchered at Birth is the one that really fucked me up. You know,
you were still a kid, right?
Yes, I when I bought that and looked through the lyrics, I just remember being like, how can this exist? Like, why is this legal? Or like,
why aren't they in prison?
Yeah, and I thought like, I don't know, there was something more to it. Like, there must be some kind of like these guys have killed before. I know it. You know, like
blood on their hands.
it felt like I had this like contraband, you know, this like snuff tape or something, and I was like strangely addicted to it, even though it was like, you know, it's like a car wreck. It was, you don't want to look at it, but you just have to. You know what I mean?
Like an accident. Right?
Yeah. And
but it censored it all the way down in America, I guess. The cover. Censored,
it got censored. You know, you had to look a little harder for the uncensored version, but that made it. I was at this age where that made it all even more attractive. You know what I mean? Like the Autopsy albums were out of print, and when you went to the store and asked about them, it said they stopped printing them because they were too obscene. And when I was 13 years old, that was the coolest thing you could hear. You know what I mean? I have to get these. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that was one of the big attractions to me at the time. I was a little late for the major big wave of death metal. You know what I mean? I was I started listening to it in '95 when Suffocation, Pierce From Within came out. That was my first death metal record. And
this was already when it was on the way down.
Yes, in popularity for sure. So, yeah, man, it basically, I don't know. I mean, I loved metal before that, but that was the big cliff which I'd jump off and never come back. You know?
Do you think the people are reading the lyrics of Black Dahlia Murder?
Some. Yeah. I think less people overall read lyrics now. I think it kind of stems from less people having a physical copy. You know what I mean? So there's less, and you know, just less people buy the physical copy. You know, you saved your money for it. You chose it, you know, sometimes by the artwork or, you know, word of mouth. It was completely different, you know what I mean? So when you bought an album that was good, you really cherished it and listened to it and looked through the lyrics and stuff. Now, you know, you can listen to 10,000 albums in a single day. You know, hopefully you'll look at the little square with the artwork, you know what I mean?
Or lyric video.
Yeah, or lyric
video. Do a lyric video.
You know what I mean? It's an entirely different world now, I think, but I mean, I pride myself on my lyrics. I hope that people check it out. You know, because I think it brings another aspect to the big picture. You know what I mean? Like, I try to be a storyteller with what I do, and I'm honored when people like my lyrics. So I appreciate when they do look.
Still write for the Metal Injection magazine as well?
Yeah, it's been the column's been slowed down a bit. The tour's been kind of like throwing a wrench in things. And but I have a really good one brewing for as soon as I get back. But I'm trying to get back into a monthly regimen with it. But it's not finding the bands that's hard. It's just writing like the corny stuff about them. You know, brutal, punishing. You know what I mean? When you say that about every single band, it just kind of gets weird after a while. But you know, there's no shortage of great shit coming out, man. What's
the newest kind of shit you? Listening to,
man, the new thing stuff. Let me see, what am I putting in the column this month coming out?
Yeah, never mind, you can read his column, you know.
Yeah, man,
Metal Injection.
Take a look. It'll be up in a few days, somewhere around 20 bands hopefully in there. The new Reduced album, Reduced from Indonesia, that'll be in there. That's really, really brutal.
Yeah, they have a good scene there.
Oh yeah, I love it, dude. I love the Indonesian scene, and I don't know, man. I just felt like I was, you know, I'm always buying all these records and, you know, trying to spread the word about them. So when Metal Blade was like, "Hey, man, you should like get a column somewhere where you write about bands," and I was like, "Yes." So it's been fun, dude. I get lots of props from bands, you know, and some free stuff sometimes, and
the band's got publicity as well.
Yeah. You know, and it's been really big for, you know, especially brutal death metal bands, because, you know, that's a very small scene, you know what I mean, for some of those bands. So to have, they say like over 10,000 people look at each column, you know, every time I put one out. So that's a lot of people to find out about a very small, you know, Indonesian death metal band, for example. So it's cool if I can help affect things, you know, and the bands are very thankful, and they seem to think that it's done a lot for them. So it's cool. It feels really good. And, you know, just giving back, really, you know, because we're so lucky to be so popular and kind of, you know, it helps me stay grounded and, you know what I mean, to kind of be plugged into the scene and to be helping out. And I think it's just a good look for our band overall. So they just don't think we're like completely selfish, self-centered turds, but, you know, that we respect the underground, you know, that we've come from the underground. And, you know, I just still love it. It's like the biggest joy in my life, you know what I mean, is death metal and metal. So
yeah,
it's the least
if you can make a living of it.
That's
the best thing that
insane.
happened.
That's been insane too. You know what I mean? It's been, it hasn't felt like a job for a millisecond of it. You know what I mean? It's hard. Touring's hard. There's a lot of waiting around, a lot of being uncomfortable. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. You know, this has been an amazing experience, to say the very least.
Okay, so we leave you to your work now.
Work. Back to work.
Yeah, back to your work.
Which is smoking weed and playing some video games.
Okay, so we're going to catch Hyrex on the stage, because they are going to play in a few minutes.
You must.
And I say thank you. Yeah, I say thank you. And check out Nightbringers, the recent album, and watch out for the next one next year maybe.
Yeah, buddy. Keep your eyes peeled.